first of all, Frank, thanks for joining us.
Great being with you, James.
I know you spend a lot of time traveling the country, giving seminars primarily to college campuses and churches, and you focus primarily on 4 questions.
Right.
And I've heard you say if the answer to these questions is the affirmative, then Christianity is true.
Right.
Can you give our audience just a brief overview of what those 4 are?
Yeah, the 4 questions are: does truth exist? Does God exist? Are miracles possible? And is the New Testament telling us the truth about the resurrection? And the reason those are the 4 questions is because you hear people say, well, there's no truth. Well, if there's no truth, Christianity can't be true, right? Neither can atheism, though, if there's no truth. So we deal with that question. We ask the question, if there is no truth, how do you know it's true that there is no truth? You know what I mean? When people say there's no truth, you're going to ask them, is that true? So, of course, there's truth. The second question is, does God exist? And quite obviously, Christianity can't be true if there's no God. But we give 3 arguments for the existence of God when we address that question. A theistic God, a spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, moral, personal, intelligent creator who created and sustains all things and whose every attribute's infinite. And we get that from those 3 arguments. Then the third question is, are miracles possible? Because Christianity can't be true if there are no miracles. And a lot of people don't believe that miracles have occurred. But we point out that the greatest miracle in the Bible has already occurred, and even atheists are admitting it, and the greatest miracle is Genesis 1:1, that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The atheists don't think that God created the heavens and the earth, but they agree there was a beginning to space, matter, and time. And so we say if space, matter, and time had a beginning, whatever created it had to be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal, and intelligent. That sounds a lot like God. And then the question about the resurrection is important, because if Jesus rose from the dead, Christianity's true, game over. And people don't believe in the resurrection because they don't think miracles are possible, but the greatest miracle has already occurred, Genesis 1:1. So if that verse is true, if Genesis 1:1 is true, maybe the verses about the resurrection are true, maybe the evidence for the resurrection is good, and if it is, Christianity's true. So that's kind of the overview. We go into a lot more depth in the book. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
Amen. As you're aware, I know you've spoken on this, you've written on this, but it seems like our young people are walking away from their faith now at an alarming rate.
Right.
It seems like the age continues to get younger.
Yeah.
Why is this?
I think one of the reasons, obviously, is because we don't teach them that it's true. We just say, have faith. And then when they get out into college or even in high school, they're hearing so many other different religious viewpoints, and so much of what they hear is right off their phone or on the internet or through their phone on the internet, and there's a lot of skepticism out there. And of course there's a moral hazard when you're young. What do I mean by that? You don't want God to exist sometimes because God gets in the way of what you want to do. So you have a moral hazard or a moral impetus to say, look, there's no God, I'm going to do what I want to do. So there's a number of reasons why people walk away, but one of them is intellectual and the other is moral. Right? They don't think it's true because we haven't told them why it's true, or they don't really want it to be true.
Great. So give us a message of hope. As a parent and those watching that are influenced of our young people, what are some practical things that we can do in our homes to help turn the tide and make sure that our children do have a more confident faith?
Well, I think it starts at home, and I don't think you can rely on the youth pastor to do all the work. I think you as a parent have to do the work. I think you have to model the truth of Christianity and then teach the truth of Christianity. And as my friend Werner says, our mutual friend, as you know, don't just teach kids, train them. Train them to get out there and interact with people. Because if you're training for something, then you're going to be motivated to learn it. If I just teach it to you and I say there's never going to be a test, you're going to go, I got other things to do. What's on my phone, right? But if I say, hey, we're going to go to UCLA in 3 weeks, and we're going to interview students on Christianity, and atheists are going to present to us. This is something our friend Brett Kunkel does,
Sure.
As you know. Atheists are going to present to us, and you're going to have to respond to what he says. Well, those kids are going to be fired up to be ready, right? They now have a fight, so to speak, to train for. And so training, I think, is very important, not just teaching, training.
Amen. Very practical advice. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, James. God bless.